Does anyone know if this is the right link?
I was thinking the same thing. I have no idea. I tried going on. Actually, I don't know if I tried the other one. I'll have to try the other one.
Rip your brains open because it's coming in. Save it.
All right.
First of all, let's just say this. If you don't have your ticket yet, there are still tickets. This is awesome. Keynote speaker at family reunion right here, Mel Robbins. I don't know if anybody listens to her, but I love her. She is amazing. She is phenomenal.
Who read it? Her big book. Yeah, the 5-second rule.
Not the fall one.
I need way less than 5 seconds. If it takes me 5 seconds, I'm probably not going to do it. I need like 3, 2. Put your feet on the floor, go. Mel Robbins wrote a book called The 5-Second Rule. Great book. The idea is that we all have 5 seconds between a yes or a no, between action or inactivity. And the idea is that it's build a book of yes. Let's move. Let's go. You're going to work out today? Great. Put your feet on the floor and go. Don't think about it. It's a great book. She's going to be there. She's fantastic if you haven't seen her before. Get it.
Was that you're going to run and grab those right after the meeting? Thought so. All
right.
Boom. Oh, our mortgage partner is not here today, hence the no breakfast. But Mark wanted us to let you know that there is still money left on this grant that he has talked about previously, the Federal Home Loan Bank grant. So if you have more questions on it, reach out to him. Thank you, Mark, for sponsoring the team meeting. I don't think he's online because I know he had another meeting, but just double checking.
Yes, we know who's important.
Now we have our good friend.
Oh, this is exciting, you guys.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
So one of the things that we've discussed and that we understand that you guys need more of is sometimes with a models and systems company, it's the way the weight of the room is all over here. I'm gonna have to sit on this side. There you go. The weight changed. Grant shifted. No, is what the conversation that we have a lot of times with agents is when we talk about posting, when we talk about engagement, we talk about smart plans, when we talk about there's a model and a system to it. Problem with social media is that it's a lot of noise and there's a lot of time that you have to spend on doing these things. So in the conversation that we had as a leadership team, Sean stepped in and said, hey, I think we could do this. And I just, first of all, wanted to say thank you. And second of all, I wanted to say, you guys, this is the opportunity you have to start automating and leveraging leads listing leverage. Let's leverage some of these digital media assets to help you. I'll let him take it over and tell you what it actually is.
Well, he pretty much covered everything there. Thanks, Nick. So, yeah, I mean, really, guys, me and Shannon, we're here to help leverage your business first and foremost. So I wanted to make it as accessible as possible. I mean, let's be real. Putting posts on social media is not selling you houses. It's not getting you any money. So what I'm going to start doing, probably, I would imagine within the next week here, I'm going to start putting together some for you. It's going to be a wide variety of options. So it's not just going to be generic real estate posts, which everyone sees. Everyone gets bored with those, scroll right past those. So we'll do recipes of the months. There will be some generic real estate posts as well. But I wanted to give you guys the option at least. Certainly feel free to use them. If you don't want them, just go ahead and delete it too. There's no pressure either way. But again, just to leverage your business. So every week you'll have content that you can post that week so you can get that time back to focus on your leads and listings. You can hit the next slide. Also, if you want to take it up a notch, so those are going to be like generic, just, kind of across the board, not really specifically branded to you. I am offering a monthly marketing package. With that marketing package, you will get 3 posts per week, so 12 per month, which honestly, 3 per week is plenty enough just to be engaged with your audience. In those, you'll get market updates, you'll get some video content. The content itself will be more specifically branded to you. So if you're a big fan of movies, maybe you want to do a movie of the month, or you want to highlight local businesses, stuff like that. I will put that together for you. We can go one of 2 ways. I can post it directly on your social media if you don't want to even worry about it. I would just need your social media information. Otherwise, I can just pass off the graphics to you and you can take it from there. So anyways, that will be $100 monthly package. I did put a note below that because I do a lot of research. I look at a lot of other marketing services out there. Typically for a social media service, for something like this, you're going to spend ballpark about $149 a week. So, I tried to leverage as much as possible, make it as simple as possible. So $100 monthly will cover you for the whole month. If you need any assistance with that, I am here, guys. I am happy to help with all of your marketing needs. Please come talk to me, shoot me an email, give me a call. That's what I'm here for. Okay, thank you.
Questions kind of on what Sean was just talking about. You're not sure exactly what you can get, how you can tailor it to him, to you. Please reach out to Sean, give him a call, stop in and see him in his office, but definitely take advantage of that opportunity.
Social media has become more dynamic. I think that there's a tendency for us to not want to move into that direction, whether it's video or not. There's other stuff we could do. So just be aware that as a part of your touch strategy, as a part of your staying top of mind, your social medias are the easiest way for us to do it with consistency. And if you're not doing that, chances are you're missing opportunities, and there's going to be somebody in your database that ends up not knowing what you do and not choosing to use you when they have the chance. Go ahead, Jordy. Gijay. So Gijay is going to give us, she's our program advocate for SPAR, MAR, Minnesota Realtors, NARUP, all the things that are happening from an industry standpoint on how you can get engaged. Gijay, take it away.
Thank you. Well, right now it's a little slow. It's the end of the year. There's not many updates, but Minnesota Realtors, that is the state, encourage people to read the magazine. In that magazine, you can find legal issues, new events, people that they put in, or can get ideas and what to post in social media too. The other thing is, I don't know if you are familiar with the C2EX endorsement. That one is not a designation, it's not a classes, or it is a course. It is courses that you take online just to be more effective, talking to clients and all that stuff. They give you a PIN, they send you a notification, SPAR or MAR, depending which associations are you. And it is a good one. You learn a lot. It is like reviewing all the information that we need to be aware talking to clients. Minneapolis area realtors, probably you are not in that association because we are St. Paul, we are a SPAR. Many agents have 2 associations. For example, I pay twice and not as all the money. It is just some part of the association, then you pay to be part of both associations. What is the benefit? Then then they have CE classes. You can go both associations, you can go back and forth, you can collaborate in any committees, and you are okay because you are part of both associations. If not, that's fine, but it's an option. Minneapolis area realtors is going to have the diversity inclusion roundtable. They're gonna have Todd Williams, who is a speaker specialized in diversity in all these topics. The good thing about this, it is like a lot of people talk about diversity, inclusion, DEI committees, but what is the people that don't like to talk about it? Or It's always the same people. Then we talk about it because affect us, or maybe because we are part of that. There is a lot of people who don't want to talk about it, but there is some people who say, well, I don't work with that kind of people or something like that. So this round table is the idea is to bring those conversations for people who don't want to have those conversations. It's gonna be October 26th, 12 to 3. And I can send the link. Somebody is available. Okay. SPAR, right now we don't have too many staff, but just let you know, any committees in SPAR all year, you are welcome to join. It is different than Minnesota Realtors and MAR. They have some dates you can apply. You decide if you can be in those committees or not. But SPAR is always open. So they have DEI, high community engagement, communication committee, affiliated committees, governmental affairs, professionalism committee. All those committees make changes in how we work and how the association works. So sometimes it's important to be part of them because you can be part of the changes that we can do. Real estate. Last is the affiliated groups, ARIA, NAREP, LGBTQ, and NAREP. Some of them, they don't have events right now. And I think NAREP has one coming on December 7th. They don't have the date right now. I mean, the time is coming up. NAREP, the broker association, they always have happy hours. And it's more for the African real estate agents, brokers. And they always welcome people, what they're doing. Right now, they are doing so well, doing the first-time home buyers everywhere. They have partnership with EPL, NIDA, cities like Bloomington, Bloomington. Those first-time home buyers, you can participate. I don't know if you are a teacher, you like to teach, but those courses are so nice and you can teach people and also make connections with all the brokers and real estate agents. And finally, the Women's Council, we're having an event here. It is November 6th. It is, thank you, Keller Williams. They're gonna be the sponsors. It's gonna be paint and wine. If you want to show up, that'll be fun. So far, we have already 37 people registered, which is awesome. All those affiliated groups, that's how they call it, is preparing already for the homeownership fair for next year. You are interested, just watch the emails and you can be part of those. It's a really good connection. You can meet a lot of other agents who are doing stuff with different communities. And yep, that's what I have.
Jordan will
CJ.
have all of that information in her follow-up email. But if anybody wants to talk to Gijay directly, because she does have a connection to all of that, she's been affiliated with most of those. Her office right over there in the hallway behind the kitchen. So just stop by and see her and get more information on that.
Absolutely. If you're looking to get involved, your likelihood of staying in the business, your likelihood of staying in the business and surrounding yourself with people who are doing the things that you should be doing are more likely in that case. Jordy. This is the one that we're all here for. Imagine that. If you have that piece of paper in front of you, how many of you have an idea while Lynn's coming up? How many of you have been following that there have been some significant changes in the last couple of weeks? All right. So we talked a little bit about this in MREA, but this has the tendency to entirely change what we do and the way that we do it. So leads, listing, leverage. What's that second L for? Listings. This is when it becomes more important than ever. Gary, when he wrote the book, had no idea that this was going to be the outcome. And now that we know, listings are going to be the determinant whether or not you are going to find the success that you want and can guarantee the consistency in your business. Because as of last week, you no longer, there's no longer a guaranteed buyer payout. Let that sink in. Go ahead, Lynn.
Hello? I haven't responded to you because I have to go through. All right. So up until now, the MLS required a buyer agent pay. However, only had to be $1. So if let that sink in too. This isn't a huge, huge change. There's always been these people around. We always pay out. I mean, my team, we typically split the commission, listing commission or close to. But okay, most of you, when I review your files, you're pretty much doing the same thing. There's always been auction properties that don't pay out more than $1. Things it's not as scary of a big change as everyone kind of thinking it is, other than it's getting the publicity. So sellers suddenly realize that they maybe don't have to pay a buyer's agent commission. Had one agent over the weekend that had that come up in a listing appointment. You're gonna have to.
We're gonna have to get new technology.
So practice your script, even if it's in your head, if it's with a friend. How are you going to say, hey?
Lynn, I'm sorry, but those on Zoom hear you without.
Say that again.
Those of us on Zoom cannot hear Lynn without the microphone.
Little girl, look at that, I'm like, hello. 518. 518. Hello, hello. Usually I'm bobbing up for anything. All right. When my kids were growing up, I did daycare. And for my kids to this day, just call it my daycare voice. I could talk over a big group. Right. Hello, hello, hello.
What's the number on that?
Hello,
15.
hello, hello.
Thank you.
Hello, hello.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear Lynn now? It's working?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We can't. That's fine. All right, so publicity that not keeping in the news is letting our consumers know that the buyer's agent commission is optional now for sellers to pay. And we don't want you working for free. You don't want to work for free. We've already ran into the builders that my biggest sale of the year paid out like 1.2% commission. That's dumb. So I want to give you some language on how you can combat that. You're going to have to really figure out how you're going to present it. First off, when you do a buyer's direct contract, you've got some really unique ways that agents write them. Do you think it's a very valid contract if you have 130 commission is somewhere between 2 and 5%? Okay, a lot of our agents do that. I don't know where they learned that. And I ask continuously, pick a number. It's not a range. So make sure you're putting in a commission that you're comfortable with. I not want to micromanage that for you. I work a little bit more up north. You know what, we see some lower commissions up there. You get into Wisconsin, you see some lower commissions. I've got one agent group that, I don't know how I got on their mailing list, but they are really shouting from the rooftops that they are paying out 3% to sell to buyer's agent. Figure out how you're going to market your business with that. Okay? When you do that buyer rep contract and agency, it needs to be before you're showing houses. It needs to be before you're writing a purchase agreement. When I get everything turned in at the same date, maybe you did a one and done. It happens. We all celebrate those ones. But typically you've worked with them for a while, or they're a friend and you just didn't get around to the paperwork until you wrote an offer. Well, you're gonna have to start explaining to your buyers that my time is worth X amount of commission. You know, somewhere between that 2 and 5. Maybe you're gonna put 2, maybe you're gonna put 3, maybe you're gonna put 4. I don't know, that's your business. But you need to discuss with your buyers and clients what your time is worth. Okay? And not every seller is going to agree with that because they now have more options. So you're going to expect your buyer to fulfill their contract with our brokerage and pay the difference. If you go show a house that's a 2.4 payout and your contract is 2.7, how are you going to collect that 0.3? Okay, we do have agents in this office that always collect 3%, and their clients pay the difference. Okay. I'm not a mouse in the corner. I'm not sure how they're presenting that. I work with a lot of VA buyers that they don't even have a down payment, let alone commission. So if they realize that the seller is paying out and is advertised, that might deter them on the houses they want to go look at because they're going to hold the difference based on the contract they sign. It's brought to my attention that we can no longer search the MLS by commission. Basically how that changed too, just quietly. Work with Greg Cartels on this. After the buyer rep contract is written, and you've got that number determined, and it's not a range, it's a number. And you find a house you want to look at. Let's say they're paying out a 1% commission and you feel you're worth 3%. And your buyer wants to write on the one with 1%. It's the buyer's obligation to Keller Williams Integrity Realty to pay that difference. I'm just using round numbers, guys. So the 2% would be the difference. The seller's already agreed to pay 1. You want your extra 2. You're going to have to decide if your buyer really doesn't have it. Are you going to waive it? Or are you going to say it needs to be paid? Let's ask the seller for it on behalf of the buyer. It is not the agent asking for commission. We are not interfering with their listing contract. That's why it's really important that you actually use the wording provide. Do not improvise. Do not start doing cute little math equations on the side and explaining how it works. Please, stick to what it says. I'm sure we're going to get complaints. And I want to have something that I can say actually should hold up. Greg swears to me it'll hold up. So we're going to believe him on this one. All right. Put in the purchase agreement that the seller agrees to pay Keller Williams Integrity Realty blank percentage. So in my example, where you think you're worth 3% and the seller thinks you're worth 1, you would put 2. You don't put the whole thing. This is just the missing portion of the commission. So seller agrees to pay Keller Williams Integrity Realty blank percent of the gross selling price at closing. And here's where it's really important. This is to fulfill the buyer's obligation under their buyer's representation contract with Keller Williams Integrity Realty. Not KWIR, not your name, not my brokerage, Keller Williams Integrity Realty. So I see Travis's wheels spinning.
This is the other category on the purchase agreement then?
Yep. To be on an addendum. Not every seller is going to agree with this.
Is this another option where, you know, if we ask sellers to pay closing costs, we ask the buyer to offer more? Can we do the same thing where we say offer more and then we'll
They'll have to price.
Sure, but I mean, could we use that? You know, when we're talking to our buyers,
It's all part of the negotiation.
when we're talking to our buyers, they're gonna obviously, if they don't have the closing, they're gonna ask, well, if I want to buy a house, how is this gonna work? Because this is how. And we say that, yes, I hear it has to appraise. Is that an option then for it to pay out at closing?
So I asked Verena this morning. This is kind of like a moving target, guys. Verena?
The answer is yes. On most scenarios. On VA, it's not, well, let's just say on all files, it's not a part of the closing cost, really. So we have some teams now, and they've done this forever. Let's say they start their the microphone. Well, they not here, maybe. Online. Can you hear me? Okay, so if you have, let's just say, first buyer looking, paying out for 24, but you turn 25. Somehow we can put that 23. Right now, we add it as part of the broker admin fee, and we disclose it. On VA, we can't do that at all because that's an unallowable fee. However, if it's part of the contract, it's not part of the closing cost, but we put it on our disclosure upfront when we read the PA before we send out any of our legal documents. We put it in the settlement statement and we mark it seller obligated. So it's not part of anything APR. If you write it into the contract that the seller's gonna pay it now, that's fine. We just have to mark it seller obligated so it doesn't impact anything from the buyer. That also holds true for all conventional USDA. Not technically closing costs, so you can mark it as seller obligated. Or if you do want the buyer to charge, I mean, it's not an APR fee, so if you want to charge them 1.5%, you can. We just add it on top of the broker admin fee. Does that answer that question?
I guess my bigger question is, when they don't have the cash, can they write it to the offer so that it comes out of the seller proceeds similar to seller contribution?
Yeah.
So then, so they're not coming in here like, oh my God, I got to come up with all this extra money. Where before we could put it in the offer, we'll just have them offer more.
From the lending side, still yes, because we would just mark it as part of the seller's obligation. I think also from your side, everything that we are learning at the same time is also still a yes, if it is written appropriately.
That's what I think.
And you can still have you can still have seller paid closing costs and seller paid commission.
Okay, the only thing I gotta correct on Rena is we do not charge fees. Administrative commission. We cannot have realtors charging fees on. So. What? Just the commission. Okay, so it's gotta be called commission. Sorry, so correct your, correct the color if they have that.
But they did.
Okay, so tell us about what if scenarios with Gary. What if Your buyer says, yeah, no problem. Mom and dad are gonna help with that. I'll have a check at closing for you for the difference. What if they show up at closing and don't have it? Okay? It's going to happen. Ideally, Carrie would like it to be part of the settlement statement, so she gets all the money at once, pays everything out at once. That's not always going to happen ideally, we know that. She will accept a check from the buyer, written out to Keller Williams Integrity Realty, not written out to the agent. Commission has to be split at the brokerage level. Okay? We are not gonna be those collectors. If you get to closing and your client doesn't have the ability to pay that commission, it's likely still gonna close. Because we can't stand in the way of them having a successful closing with the seller. But we're not going to be your bill collector. So really have this as a strong conversation with your client that this is their contract, it's like a listing contract obligating the seller to pay. This is their buyer's contract obligating them to pay. And hopefully we'll get the seller to cover it. In the event that doesn't happen, here's our options. Do you want to look at houses that do not cover the commission? Those are going to be some hard conversations. I'm trying to put them in my own head, and we're going to have to really brainstorm on how some of that's going to come out. And everyone's got a different style on how they talk and how they present. But when you write the purchase agreement, it's not Keller Williams asking for that difference in money. It's the buyer asking for that difference in money to fulfill the buyer's obligation to Keller Williams Integrity Realty. We are not negotiating the listing contract. We are asking for the sellers to help the buyers fulfill their contract.
Lynn, I have a question.
Yeah,
You had said that, you know, we would accept a check at closing, and I understand the brokerage is not going to be the bill collector. Would it be possible, and I don't know how escrow works, but would it be possible to have them add that somehow to the earnest money through the trust funds, or just to guarantee that it's sitting there?
you pay it ahead of time. You
Can they
charge
do that?
you
Can
can
it be added?
charge fee.
Which would probably be a good practice.
Mhm. When my
So what
son-
I'm saying is, can you initiate, could the agent initiate, you know, the normal trust funds deposit for earnest money that gets deposited into the seller's trust account, but then initiate a second one where it gets deposited into the buyer's broker's trust account for that difference if the buyers agree to pay for it?
I'm gonna say no. Carrie's shaking her head no. You could charge a retainer fee and credit it back to the buyer in the event it's not used.
What's the hard no, you guys? Why,
We can't commingle funds in the trust fund. We'll just wait for, okay, start earnest money. We can't put commission funds in there.
So if we put this language that you have on the sheet here,
Yep,
I understand that if there's a payout already of 1% and your buyer rep was 3, this would say 2.
correct.
But how do we keep people from misinterpreting that? It's like, oh, we're just paying them 2.
Honestly, I'd put a cover letter just like I do now with an offer. My offer is, you know, 300,000, there's 2,000 in earnest money, a 5-day inspection, VA financing. You will take note that on line 6. That in addition to MLS payout, my client's asking that their obligation be fulfilled with help from the seller. But remember, it is not you asking for it. Do not be adding words. I know my mommy brain kicks in. My kids call it a mommy math when I give directions. I really want to start doing the math on the purchase agreement that this plus this equals this. Can't do that. Just keep it really simple. We don't want any complaints. We had a different deal last week that came up, and another agent got very creative in how they wanted to negotiate commissions on a counteroffer addendum.
Did his name start with P?
No. It was our list.
Okay,
Our listing. Anyways, that did fall into an ethics violation. Because they were negotiating the commission between the brokerages on the counteroffer addendum. And the question came up, did the agent have to present it to the client, even though it was a violation? And the answer is yes. Article 1 of the Code of Ethics says we have to present. We do have a duty to explain to our client how the contracts work. And I'm not sure if that one got corrected or not. Alex?
I haven't heard anything bad, so make it work.
I tried to give some very good direction.
Yeah.
If you need some assistance, don't hesitate to ask. Okay? Jake?
Well, piggyback on my last question, I understand saying that it's email, just to the MLS payout of 1%. You know, but I would feel way more comfortable if that little, in addition to the MLS payout, that whole language could be all together.
No.
Can't be, okay,
Flat no.
all right.
And I'm negotiate their listing contract.
I wouldn't be. I would
I
say,
was told a flat no, and I'm gonna stick to that.
all right, I don't understand why, but okay.
I'm expecting backlash period, so I don't want to add any additional. This really should work. Greg was teaching this way before this. And I knew he had this language, it's just not something we've had to use. So I trust him on that. But I also trust him when he says, don't let your agents add anything extra, okay?
But
Okay. I'm right there with you. I really want to give that a little more direction.
So I feel like there's a whole lot of talk here about the buyer side and the buyer's tax and stuff. Isn't there also gonna be another side to it? We're doing listings, we're dealing with the sellers, right? So are there communications we're gonna have with our sellers?
I mean, I think we've always had those communications. What's your payout gonna be?
Yeah.
Agents shouldn't be looking at the payout, but their clients might be. It's probably the piece we're gonna have to add. I honestly don't look at the payouts, and maybe I'm gonna have to. I try to find a home that fits my client's needs.
Lynn, I have a question.
What?
Sorry if I make you repeat yourself. It's a little choppy over Zoom. Is renegotiating the buyer payout an option? Like, say if you come across a listing that's not offering any commission and you write as part of the offer that as part of this offer, for the sake of using round numbers, you say that as part of this offer, the seller is paying 2% or 3% of the sale price to the buyer's broker. Is that an option?
Not, it can't be broker to broker. It's gotta be the buyer and seller. The seller is helping the buyer fulfill their obligation.
So it couldn't be part of the purchase agreement?
Answer.
That's
You're getting to the same answer, Nick. but
Okay,
You can't ask the seller for commission. That's the listing contract. Your client can ask for assistance in fulfilling their obligation to the brokerage. Now that's the buyer asking the seller for assistance so they can buy their house.
okay.
But
So,
as part of the purchase agreement.
okay,
But I
Thank-
can't pay Nicholas on behalf of the brokerage wants ABC Realty to pay more.
So case in point, use the language that Lynn is applying, correct, Lynn? And don't deviate from the language.
That's going to be my answer for the moment, and if it changes, the landscape of the industry changes, we will have more conversation.
And OCT, I'll have that language for you at our team meeting.
And they, the ones who showed up actually have it in writing now. Thank you.
The buyers, paid by buyer in advance, will it be common practice to provide a clear check to the title company so that, I mean, we're gonna have to.
That's gonna be a work in progress. But there really, I mean, some of you work in some nice price points, clients have some money. They understand that they want the agent they want because you're the agent that's providing the service and the experience and you're gonna sell them. Just like on a listing presentation, you sell your services. You have to be able to present and show this is why I'm worth this. We have buyer's agents that sit down and do a very similar presentation on the buyer's side. Here's what I'm worth, here's why I'm worth, here's the services you get. I noticed that some of the houses that you have interest in vary on what they pay out. My fee stays at your, not my fees, my commission stays the same, and you'd be responsible for the difference. We can do this a couple ways. You could take a retainer fee up front. And you know what, if the house you pick pays more than that or pays that much, we'll refund it to you at closing. Or you could collect it at the closing. It could be on the settlement statement like Raina's talking about. It could be that mom and dad provide a check at the closing table. Raina, is the lender gonna have to be able to prove funds available to be able to do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
as it's mentioned in the purchase agreement, everything has to be on the closing disclosure. We have to verify it.
You gotta verify those funds. Okay. Can't be a charge card. I'm gonna ask that one.
So Lynn, I have a comment and I have also just a question. My question is, I have been seeing on some of the different real estate forums on social media here locally lately, that there is some discrepancy on whether it's legal or deemed as an ethics violation to have the conversation with the buyer. Do you only want me to show you properties that are willing to pay my fee and otherwise screen those out? Is that a conversation that you believe we can have without, any violations, as long as we have the conversation and then weed those out in the concierge mode of the MLS auto listings?
Be careful with that one. It's my intention to follow up with North Star, because I knew you had that question, Shane.
Yeah.
They removed it from a search criteria. I got a feeling the answer is gonna probably be no.
So you can't have that? You're saying you cannot have
They have to have a conversation that they're gonna be liable for the difference, but they're gonna have to be the ones to indicate they don't wanna see those then.
Right. So if we can get something in writing from them that states that they only want to see listings that are paid out at 2.7% or above, otherwise they're not interested in seeing those listings, is that okay?
I have a solid answer for you, Shane.
You can't search.
I would like to know the answer for sure on that. And the other thing that I have is I've been on 2 listing appointments, one last night and one last week, where on both occasions the seller challenged the buyer broker payout, and one, we just agreed that we couldn't work together. And so I did not take the listing because I was not going to take the listing for just 3.3% and no buyer's payout. And then last night I was on one and they asked me to take 1% off of that. And they very much understood, what they were asking. And I told them that I would not be able to be the realtor for them if that was the case, because I'm not going to start advertising, at least not now, that I'm, paying out less than a full, 2.7%. Am I doing anything wrong by just turning the listing down at that point?
Well, and I did ask that question already. How you negotiate, because commissions are negotiable. If it does not come out to be terms that you want to deal with, you can bow out.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the problem that we're going to see is we're going to see more and more, agents with working in brokerages like Keller Williams, Edina Realty, Remax, not discount brokers, starting to offer discount fees because they're going to get pushback from their sellers. And obviously we hate to see that happen, but I think the more that we can try and strong, better. Anyway, thank you.
I think we're gonna see both sides of that. We're gonna see the sellers that understand. I mean, we used to see bonuses. We're gonna see sellers that understand that is what's going to bring the buyers to their door. And I think when you go to present, we can look at these three houses. These are the three different commissions. This is what your contract says. This one's gonna cost you X amount if you decide to buy on it. This one will cost you X. This one won't cost you anything. I think buyers are gonna be able to direct which ones they wanna look at. I'm very hesitant to say, I'm not going to show you this one because it doesn't fit your contract. You follow?
Renegotiate that contract anytime.
You can waive it, you can do whatever you want. Yes, you can renegotiate your buyer rep contract. Your favorite little buyer finds one at 2.5 and you just really, really want to sell them a house and show them 50. Yeah. Just make sure you change the contract. No one's enforcing their contract, guys. Y'all put a number in there and then you take whatever they give you. I actually put in mind that I will accept what the MLS payout is, and I'm gonna have to probably change my thought process on that if commissions are going that low.
I'm gonna recommend also that when you sign on your buyer's rep agreement with your buyers, that you actually give your buyer a copy of the contract, because I know that doesn't happen.
Oh, yeah. He did her his angel wings. I've actually been, I like doing buyer rep contracts in person, an agency in person. I like having that eye contact with people. And I've actually been taking my phone and using the Cam Scammer app and scanning the documents and literally handing them their originals back right when they sign. And then emailing them that copy. I only need a scanned copy. I bring my red folder with, I have all the blanks or all the unsigned forms in it, and I'm handing it back to them right then and there. Telling them, keep that folder, you're gonna have more documents to add to it. I don't really care if I give them more folders. But that lets them know that I think that's important. Everyone's got their own technique. But thank you, Shane, copies are huge. Ask your clients if they're paper people or PDF people. I've been on way too many ethic hearings lately where agents think that they signed on Instinet, they automatically got a copy. People don't realize they gotta go on and click the link to get a copy. And maybe you tell them, but they're not tech savvy. Or maybe they're super tech savvy and they don't even want the paper. But ask them what their preference is. I ask them and then I give them both. Your opposites attract. One of them one likes paper, one likes PDF. All right. I don't think this is going to be as earth shattering as everyone thinks it is. But there's going to be some bumps. So please call, email. Occasionally I'm at the grocery store. It might take a moment.
Lynn, I just am still confused why in our buyer consultation with our buyers, if we explain to them that, you know, not all sellers are willing to pay this fee and my fee is X percent, why we can't ask and get something in writing from them if they prefer not to see homes that don't pay that because they can't pay it. I'm just confused why, if we have the conversation and get it in writing and they say, do not show me homes that do not pay this fee, I cannot afford to pay this fee otherwise, why we can't screen those out. I'm confused.
Thank you, Shane. I'm asking for a moment to be able to research it a little deeper.
Fine.
All right, are we done?
Issues with getting a gift done if mom and dad paid the difference for the
That's
company.
up to your lender. Lender and you are gonna have to stop, because they have to verify funds. So it might be that additional commission is a gift,
Got it.
you're gonna have to verify funds. And if you're gonna waive part of it, let's do an amendment to the buyer rep contract. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't just amend your buyer rep contract. Do some sort of an amendment that for this property, agent's willing to accept this commission. Because as soon as you go to amend it, you're not gonna get that offer accepted and you're gonna find another one. So I'd be specific on the properties. If that's what you're going to do.
Could you just do that on that commission disclosure, like when you write
You could.
to the 5 and then make a note on it?
Yeah.
You don't.
I think
Property only.
be okay with that. So there's a meeting of the minds, it's in writing, and both of you sign it. They want to make it harder than it is. Harvey and I are going to get together.
I'm excited because we get to work on our negotiation, we get to focus more on listings, and we get to really understand the forms for this. So I actually think it's a massive opportunity, and however you focus on it, it's crap, it's gonna be crap. You think it's awesome, it's gonna be awesome, and it's an opportunity, right? Not an obstacle. So that's how I see it.
That's one of the dead ends do. I went to my doctor yesterday and was just told I'm getting old. I think
You can tell your eye doctor you wanted to pay less.
actually he gave me a really nice discount. But no, you know, you pay the doctor with a charge. Pay your attorney with a charge. We gotta get better at telling our clients this is what our worth is.
I think it's a perfect opportunity to give ourselves a raise.
I mean, we have one agent who never put less than a 2.7 ever, and I have seen a million times on those closings where there's an additional check that came in from the buyer.
When I talked to Greg about this, he said he's got an agent over at Maple Grove that charges a premium because he feels he is an experienced premium agent. And his clients pay him.
Yeah, that's true.
So is this a different mindset?
He said, did you have a fire?
I just worry more about like Shane's comment that he had 2 listings that the potential seller is confronting you about this. Like, this is really forefront for us. I think we're seeing it in our emails, we're seeing it on social media, we're following the lawsuits and everything, but I was wondering where the knowledge level was in the general public. If I have a listing agreement next week, am I guaranteed that my potential seller knows about this and is gonna confront me about it? Or are they really, I mean, Shane had 2 in a week that know about it and are like, nope, not gonna pay that. So I'm just
So
kind
we
of wondering.
even changing our next page, instead of just showing like what the commission is. We show the commission in like Greg's got a black type. And then in gray, he's got how that breaks out.
So there'd be a conversation. We don't know about it. It's what we pay for. Essentially, is the buyer brokers, like, part of it. I've had that, we contested already of saying, I don't want to pay that much. It's someone else's day. They should be really. Not completely new, but we might see more of it. Still just having that conversation right away up front. And making it apparent of here's where I stand. It's the premium rate. That's what you want to do, and that's the client you get.
So if you're doing anything odd with rates that makes it a variable, make sure the MLS shows that it's a variable. And I can see that happening. I'm not gonna pay you double. If I don't even have to pay a buyer's agent, I'm not gonna pay you double. So I already get agents that will put in there, if, you know, Lynn represents buyer and seller. Commission will drop 2%. Make sure the MLS shows that as a variable. If another agent calls and asks you, what is the spread on that variable, you have to tell them the 2%. So if they make an offer to be competitive, knowing that you might have done it. If they ask you to write the other offer, you have to be honest and say yes or no. There are things that we are transparent on in order to keep it a fair playing field for all buyers. But yeah, you're saying there's conversations are not new. It's just how in depth are you gonna go with it? We are going to, just of course, I know we're gonna lose a few of our guests. We are going to start team meeting. The second team meeting of every month. There will be a portion at the end that will roll into a little bit after the hour. That will be a mastermind around the same topic of who's experienced things, what's changed, what's happening, how you're overcoming it. So definitely make sure, we'd love to have more feedback as well for that second team meeting of every month. On that topic for the next few months and kind of navigate through this. If we have to do it more often, we'll do it more often. Does anyone track like how commission affects listings? You know, when, I mean, there's a builder in particular out in Ramsey that they were paying out squat last year. And now all of a sudden they're paying a decent commission. So they saw the value to raise that buyer's agent commission. Is there any search on that?
I think there's what they do, because they're still selling homes all the time, and now they raise it from their dollar, but a lot of times they do it straight across the board. Here's 5,000, what I'm seeing all. Yeah, actually works with Joey. They did shift theirs, so I think the dollar thing definitely wasn't working for them, but now that it's seems to be bigger, I'm doing money have more, but they went to just a flat rate, here is still lower than most. And their listing side is just, we charge $10,000, $5,000. They're not one of those who really do it at a drastic difference, I think, from what I've seen.
Some of the big box stores have a cap on what they'll pay for commission regardless of what the purchase price is. That's what I ran into.
I know from my experience being an REO agent, REO companies don't pay 2.7, they pay 2.5, they might pay 2, and some of them even pay 1. And like, I'll get people complain and make smart ass comments, but they still show the property still sells, and it really hasn't been an issue.
Yeah.
Especially now with limited inventory.
Yeah, that's gonna be the seller's argument. And it's gonna be hard to argue back. You're gonna have to be able to present the value. There's a lot of money when someone's selling a house.
Last night at my listing appointment, that is exactly what the seller's argument was, but the inventory is low. It'll still sell even if we don't pay out the 2.7%.
We choose, so I was told this when I was a new agent, just wanted to check. If I put 2.7 on my buyer rep agreement and then the payout is 2.5 and I'm fine with accepting that, I need to go back and change my buyer rep and turn in that higher here to 2.5.
I think if you just put it on the compensation agreement, that the difference is being waived by the agent, that would be something in writing.
Okay, I thought the broker could actually take the higher amount and it would come out of my pocket. That was what I heard way back when I was a new agent.
Some teams even do that, and so we don't.
Okay.
Guys, some they can. Glad to hear where someone's nice.
Good answer.
All right, let me done.
What a great meeting, guys. Thank you.